It's your brother Asad, and we are back again with another quick video. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notifications bell so that you'll be notified when we drop new material on this channel. Secondly, in terms of housekeeping, we got to give a special and a significant and a particular and a peculiar shout out to my South African family for all the love you guys have shown this channel, my wife, myself, my children. We greatly appreciate it. Third, in terms of housekeeping, bam, 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 just like that. Third, in terms of housekeeping, we are still looking for suggestions for this month's meetup, February's meetup. We're going to put rands and black hands, rands and black hands. Do something radically simple and revolutionary. Radically simple and revolutionary, but we need the suggestions. We need at least 3 good suggestions so that this week I can go out and check them out, or maybe all in one day I'll go out and check them out. Yeah, we got to right. So go out and check them out, and then we can start telling people, bam, 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 this is where it's going to be. This is where it's going to be, and this will be the last, not the last. This will be meet up in February. Then we're going to skip March because of Ramadan, and then we'll be back in April, right? Skip March, skip the month of March. Bam, 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 just like that. So, with that being said, today we have a very, very special guest, right? This brother is my Muslim brother. This brother is a businessman. This brother is a world traveler, but yet he's decided to make Johannesburg his home. So without further ado, I will allow the brother to introduce himself, tell us where he's from, and then we'll get into this interview.
Well, thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum to both of you, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. I don't know if I'm worthy of it, but I'll take it. Okay, thank you. Listen, a little about me. I'm originally from New York, but I spent my last 35 years in Atlanta, Georgia, and owned property and businesses there. And my 2 middle children, my 2 younger children are still there. And I've always wanted to, I've been a traveler since a little boy, from probably 3 or 4 years old. I'm an explorer. So, and as time went on and I was able to explore further away from home, then it allowed me to come to Africa. So, my excursions earlier would be, the Caribbean and someplace 2 or 3 hour flight. Now it's 15, 20 hour flights. So just wanted to explore things that we were always told that were just the opposite. This place, Africa, is beautiful, it's growing. And I wanted to bring some of my skill sets and see if I can help our people here improve on some of their skills. And so wherever I go, I want to leave a mark, a positive mark. So whatever time this is that Allah has provided me to be on this earth, I want to be as useful as I possibly can. I gave the US quite a few years of productivity, so I want to share that.
Definitely. So you're from Atlanta. What kind of work were you in Atlanta? Or what kind of work are you in now?
Well, I still own my businesses in Atlanta. So I own real estate and own a technology company, and I do some investment. So investing. So being here is not that bad. Outside, I'd have to work to kind of like 12 o'clock at night. So when my guys need to communicate with me, my day starts at about 4 here in Johannesburg time, as far as working. But then I'm up at 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning for salat time. I go back to sleep. Then I go to the mall, maybe play golf or do some stuff like that. Then I got to go to work. But it's all worth it. I've been enjoying it.
Good. So what made you choose South Africa? At first, how long have you been here?
Well, this is going into my 3rd week now. And the choice, I visited a few countries, but the infrastructure here was familiar to me. It wasn't a drastic change. And so that made it a little easier to transition here. The infrastructure is very important, especially with technology and so forth. It has its little setbacks here, but I've been able to manage through them. But being able to, one, it's a direct flight back to Atlanta, which is very helpful if I need to get back to take care of business, my family and so forth. So it's a direct flight from Johannesburg to Atlanta, 15-hour flight. but more so the infrastructure has been a good transition for me. I don't know if I'm ready to go to a place that doesn't have the same infrastructure, or at least similar, you know, something completely opposite of what we're used to in the States.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna jump into it. Give me 2 things that you like about Johannesburg, and maybe 2 things that you're like, this has to improve.
Okay, cool. I tell you, the shopping in the malls and the people have been absolutely awesome. I've met some really cool people through you and Sister Adrienne. I've met some really wonderful people here, so I thank you guys for that. So that's been a plus. Getting around has been another plus, although I'm Ubering right now, but transportation has been relatively easy. So this transition has been cool. As you know, found a beautiful masjid, so that's been a plus. I probably can go on. So you only asked for 2, so I'm gonna stop at 3. But the setbacks, I would say, was just getting used to the load shedding. So I came home 2 Fridays ago, and there was no power. Saturday morning, I had to go get an inverter and these little backup lights. So there's ways to deal with it. It's just a minor inconvenience. So that's one. And I think the other, I don't really know if there's another real setback outside of getting ready to start driving on the opposite side of the road. So that would probably be the 2. Oh, no. There's one more thing. Paying to watch television. I think I mentioned that to you. A TV license. You know, like a TV license, but there's minor stuff, man. It's really minor stuff, and really just having to get adjusted to a different way of life. If we wanted the same way of life, we could have stayed back where we came from, you know? So, and we have the accents now. So I've been told, oh, your accent is so cute. I'm like, oh, okay, I got the accent now. So it's minor stuff, but the upside far outweighs those minor inconveniences, as I would call them.
So I think that's one of the things that's important to remember, is that we are immigrants now, right?
Yes.
I think we're in the United States, we're so used to, in many ways, not with a negative connotation, but otherizing people, right? If they have an accent, and oh, you're not from here, you're not from here. Not necessarily that we as Black Americans treat them poorly, or African Americans treat them poorly. It's just that we're like, oh, you have an accent. Now, when we're here, we have to realize that we are just like every other immigrant group that has, moved from one country to another. We have the accents. Our cultures are foreign. Our ways of doing things are not the norm. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you gotta remember that. I think a lot of times, sometimes our like the American, I don't want to say arrogance, but just the American mentality is that people should be conforming to us, when the reality is we're immigrants. We conform to the society and the culture in which we're in. So,
you bring up an excellent point, brother. That is humbling, and it takes a humble nature to appreciate that, because now you know what people go through in other countries. You know, like dealing with the banking and so forth is different. And when sometimes I'm just used to things happening like that, and they don't happen like that. So I said, okay, I got to tone it down. And it was like that when I left New York and came to Atlanta, because the South is completely different than the North. So, but embracing these things is what I believe will make you enjoy and adapt quickly,
So, Brother Shareef, a lot of people watch our channel from the States and are planning to relocate, or just wanting to know more and hear our insights. Was it always of interest to you to move to the continent of Africa? And if not, like what made that even a thought in your mind, something that you would consider?
Thank you. About 12 years ago, I lived in the Caribbean, and that was a pretty good experience. It was only 2.5 hours from Atlanta, so that wasn't bad. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm an explorer, and the Caribbean was cool, South America was cool, Europe was cool, but I felt that I could do more by bringing to this continent whatever little that Allah has blessed me to know and learn, that I can help others. So that was the big decision maker there. We know the experiences that we've had in America and so forth, and I could take the good and the bad and formulate another life. I don't think as human beings that we are subjected to just stay in one place. I'm a natural wanderer. I'm a natural explorer. That's what feels comfortable to me. Very stable, but still my outlook is broad. So people that want to come here for whatever reason, you will want to come visit a few times. And that's what I did with you guys. And you two were very helpful in showing me different parts of town to live in. That's how I wound up moving out where I moved to. And you guys were very helpful. So if other people need that type of information, I would definitely advise them to seek counsel from you guys. But coming to Africa, and I'll stop here, but coming to Africa, it just feels natural. It feels comfortable. I've been in about 5 or 6 countries, and it's very comfortable for me. I don't feel foreign, and people that think, oh, there's no technology, or you're out in the wilderness, stop it, it's foolishness. Their technology is actually on par, if not better than what we experience in the US. Outside of the load shedding, outside of that, everything else is pretty comparable.
Right. And that's important because he's in the IT. So it's not just the one person in our kind of layman's opinion. He's in the IT, he's in the security and all of it. Like, I can't explain his business, but he's into all that. So when he says it is that the infrastructure and technology is on par, it means a little bit more than just saying, yeah, they got the thing where you can swipe your hand. Like, you go to Fitz, I'm telling you, go to Fitz, and I have my ID badge, you can whoop with the ID, but they're phasing that out. Now they have the fingerprint technology. Run your hand through the thing, just swipe through the thing, and access screen. I'm like, man, this is crazy, man.
It's crazy. Exactly. Exactly. And you know what happens? You see, in America, 100 years ago, we were leading in technology with copper, with the transmission of information. So you have these new emerging technologies that are taking advantage of glass, which is fiber optics, that can transmit so much more information. So as America still has to change their infrastructure from copper to fiber, these countries that are growing economies now, they're already on fiber. So they're going to have an advantage at this point. So I've seen some really hot technology here. I'm like, yeah, and the malls and so forth, I hate to say it, some of these malls, I haven't seen much in the States that can compare to it, and the technology that exists in it. And being in that field, I see certain things that you may not recognize, but I recognize them,
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to know what.
Well, before we jump into that, just piggyback on this point, like you said, they're starting off, since they're developing, they're starting off with the fiberglass infrastructure, right? And that's important. And it made me think about also load shedding, because load shedding has been such a concern for the government and for the people of South Africa. They've already inverters and solar panels or whatever have you. So they're putting themselves through even though load shedding is a major inconvenience, I don't ever downplay it, but they're putting themselves in position for the future. They will, when the lights go out, South Africa will have alternatives.
Absolutely.
Feeding the infrastructure out of necessity. So, but
absolutely.
I want to follow up and say, what do you notice, security or tech wise, that the layman would not notice? What are some of the things that you notice?
Yeah, there are a lot of things, such as, like, I watch the elevators. They have these new elevators with new technology. The scanning technologies when you go in and out of different businesses, even the banking. Their banking apps are a little more fluid than what we're used to in the States.
Yeah.
And that has been quite interesting, because it took me a minute to get accustomed to it, but paying for everything right off of your app, and an app for electric, an app for cell phones, this and that. So it's a little different. Sometimes it's an inconvenience because I'm used to post-pay. But then I recognize it's bringing technology to such a large group of people that sometimes they may not have the means to do postpay. But those are some of the things that I noticed is just in the applications, the banking. One setback I have noticed in looking at some properties with wiring of houses, and that's one of the things that we plan on doing is introducing smart homes and so forth and different wiring infrastructures with these homes. A lot of the homes, they put 2 or 3 electrical outlets in a room and that's it. There's no data, there's no fiber, it's not pre-wired for load shedding or inverter. So there are some things that they could still use some improvement on, but there are some things they're advanced in.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great insight. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I had a little trouble with that banking stuff first. It was a learning curve. It wasn't like it was like I had to learn the technology because we were still used to going into the bank. I need to go to the bank and pull out money, or I'll go to the drive-through at the ATM or whatever have you. And now that I have, overcome the learning curve, I know I can go on my little F&B app, pay my cell phone bill, send money to my, pay my insurance or whatever have you. So it is actually many steps ahead of what is taking place in the U.S., or at least the way we were operating in terms of our banking.
Right. Same here. Yeah, same here. Even with Zelle, Zelle is cool, and you have those other applications like that. But that F&B app is really good because it gives you all the options. You can pay bills, you can transfer money, and so forth. So, and I think you hit it right on the head, brother. It's a learning curve, and that's what I had to get over.
You don't need a Cash App here. Like I was like, oh, Cash App doesn't work here, but as long as you're sending money and within South Africa, why do you need a Cash App? Because you can do the exact same thing from your phone, from your own, your F&B account or standard bank account or whatever have you.
Right.
And I'm sure that this has been in place way before we knew anything about a Cash App.
Right.
I bet you Cash App came over here something. That's how they do. They came over here and started, we're gonna take this back to America. And
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
well, Cash App being here is still a necessity for me because I still conduct a lot of business back there, and it's just easier to use Cash App there. So, but that's probably what happened because Cash App is very convenient and it addresses a market that it allows money to move very fast, which is, you can't beat that. Yeah.
So I always say the greatest natural resource that South Africa has is people. It's people. So I want to know your experience with meeting locals and everyday South Africans. What has that been like?
Oh, that's been really cool. They all been very friendly. I've been asked about 2 or 3 times in the bank to take them back to America when I go back. I'm like, be careful what you ask for. So everybody that I've run into has been friendly. Of course, my nature is I'm from New York, so I'm always alert. I never sleep, so I'm always watching. But the people have been very friendly. Restaurants, the people have been friendly in the stores and so forth. I haven't had any issues. The people have been very warm. So I would say if you came here, you would expect the same. I mean, between hotels, the grocery stores, and so forth, the people that I've met through you guys have been very warm. So it just seems like everybody's like that. Of course, I know you have the segment of the population that may not be so warm, but that's the only thing I've met is a bunch of nice people.
Yeah, I know we were at the mosque, man walked up to him and started speaking Afrikaans. We started
So what am I here, brother? I'm a colored or something? I'm like,
yeah. The guy told him yesterday, said he goes down to Cape Town and he loses his passport, and we're like, oh no, brother, you don't stay here.
Exactly. Exactly. You ain't going nowhere, buddy. Yeah.
So can I ask, when you were deciding where you wanted to live, what were some of the things, what were some of the deciding factors? Because, you saw different areas What made you land on the area that you landed
Okay. Well, even before I met you guys, I reached out to Brother Assad. I had watched you guys on YouTube for a while and watching some of the challenges that you had getting here. But then the energy that you two, were putting out there about this place, I said, let me check it out. And so, when we first met, I think I've been here, 5 times?
Yeah.
Something like that since May or June of last year. And just the infrastructure has been what's important. I love playing golf, right? That's my favorite pastime. So there's plenty of that around here. You have the elephant sanctuary. You have so many different things to do. You have dams. You have all of these activities to do, and you can get to relatively easy. So for me to transition from what I've been used to my entire life to a whole new way of life, this was the easiest transition that I found thus far. So I do plan on visiting some other countries, but right now this has been very comfortable for me. And the decision I'm very pleased with the decision. And just the infrastructure is what's super important to me, to make sure that I can still do the things that I need to do back in the US, because I still have businesses that I have to function with. And if my internet is down, I don't have lights all day, so that could be a big issue. So here was a good transition to the continent.
Yeah, but more specifically, because we get a lot of people that reach out to us and ask about different parts of Johannesburg or different neighborhoods. And so, you saw several different neighborhoods, and I'm just wondering, like, why'd you choose? What was the deciding factor to choose the neighborhood you landed in?
That's a very good point. So right now, I'm not ready to purchase a home here yet until I see more of Johannesburg. So I went to the apartment. And so I was looking, I love Sandton, beautiful, but I needed more green space. I love Rosebank, same thing. I needed more green space. The malls and everything are there, beautiful. The people are nice. So then brother mentioned to me the waterfall area out by the Mall of Africa. And when I came out here, I saw grass and green, and maybe because it's all new. That's what it's like a kid in a candy factory. I'm seeing all this new stuff. So I came out here, and then they have these complexes, but the apartments were kind of small, and they were just, the buildings are right on top of one another. And I'm not used to that. From the States, I live in a pretty big plot of land. So this took some getting used to. So I found a spot a little further out in Midrand that had what I needed. It only had like 80 apartments. It wasn't 4 stories. They weren't built on one another. And I have a beautiful view of Johannesburg. So that's what made me move out here. All the amenities are out here. We have several malls out here. It's kind of like being in the States. I don't have to be in downtown Atlanta. I live out in the suburbs, and I have everything that I need out there. I don't have to go downtown if I don't want to. So plus there are several golf courses out here. So, that was a big deciding factor for me, is being someplace I can go practice, play golf, or go take a walk. It's really relaxing for me. So
nice.
My question is this. What would you tell African Americans who may or may not be interested in visiting the continent of Africa, like who are interested in traveling, but they're trying to decide where they want to go, but Africa may not be on their radar? What would you say to them?
I would say you would do yourself a disservice by not coming to visit, and not being dissuaded by what we've been shown on TV for the last 40, 50, 60 years. The people here are warm. If you want beaches, there are beaches. A lot of us are just starting to travel, so we may go to the Caribbean, Mexico, the DR, St. Croix, St. Thomas. But when you really come here and you get this different culture, and you get the warmth of the people, and then you get to touch your feet on this ground, it's nothing like it. There's a reason why every country in the world comes to this continent to extract products and goods and natural resources. This is where it all started. And it's refreshing. You would do yourself a big favor by coming to visit. You may not necessarily be able to deal with some of the nuances, but at least to experience it and say, I've been there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think your mind would change if you came, because a lot of times it's hard if you've been programmed for so many years to think that everything is forest and everything is, you got animals running around and you don't have technology and then you're going to get robbed here or there. We have to break that mindset. And I think if you did that, you would be well pleased with what you come to see. You know, last night there was a young lady that spoke, and she spoke so eloquently on her wanting to come here. And it just warmed me to see a young lady at 21 years old traveling internationally, speaking the way she did and conducting herself the way she does, because most of our youth are scared or don't even have that on their radar to be able to seek something outside of what we are told to seek. So that was a blessing to hear her and see her and feel her energy on what she's doing. And she's going to be a powerhouse in the future.
She will.
If she's not already one. Right.
Yeah. I think her name is Dana Wilson. I believe her name is Sister. Yeah, Sister spoke very well. Yeah.
Right.
So any final words on your experience in Johannesburg, South Africa, coming to the continent? Any final words before we wrap up?
Absolutely. You can come to this continent and find anything you're looking for. No matter what it is, you can find it. And it's a beautiful place. I've been to several countries and I've enjoyed every one of them. Johannesburg has been my favorite thus far. And I think coming to visit would change your whole outlook on life, especially considering the indoctrination that has taken place living where we've lived throughout our entire life. We were made to be scared to come here. Why? And that brother that spoke last night about that crossroads we talked about Africans being scared to deal with Black people in America and Black people in America being scared to deal with Africans, then it makes us, we can't unify our resources and help each other. And this doesn't mean that we dislike anybody else, but if you love yourself, that doesn't mean I have to hate you. I just love my people, and I want my people to do well and be able to flourish. So I have different motivation. But go ahead, brother, pardon me.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but brother, Dr. Otisio, I think he said something very important, because he kind of made a hand motion where he's like, coming from Africa, going to America, and coming from America, going to Africa. And he pointed to this X. He said, that's where the power lies, right?
Absolutely.
That crossover is where the power lies. That's what we create. As I say before on this channel, we create this synergy between African Americans and continental Africans. We have to create that synergy. And he was like, he who controls that X, who controls that crossover, is the one who is going to really, have power. But I don't think that's, the conversation wasn't about a power dynamic, but it was about not an individual power dynamic, but a power dynamic of a group of people. These two groups,
a collective.
A collective. So yeah, and I think that's one of the goals of just continuing to do this YouTube channel, is to be a part of that X, to start getting people back and forth, and creating that synergy. And guess what? With technology, you don't necessarily have to leave. Right?
Exactly.
It's about creating we were in New Orleans having South African American dialogues, right? Once a week or once a month or something like that. Once a month we were having them, and we would have 40, 50 people on a Zoom call talking about South African experiences, African Americans, building these conversations. Sometimes they were difficult conversations. Sometimes they were just all fun and games and laughing and talking and finding out similarities and whatever happened. But the conversation started, the synergy was being built. And people left off there exchanging emails, right? I don't know what kind of relationships they have now. They may be doing business, they may not be doing business, they may visit each other, I don't know, but the relationships form, right?
To build familiarity, kinship.
Right.
It's hard. What was that Cat Williams talking about? I don't have no insurgent friends.
I don't have no, right.
And then you know people, you have that relationship, people can't tell you anything about them.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
The continent has been exploited. The AFRICOM dropping bombs. And if we don't feel a connection to it, it's like Cat Williams said, I don't know. I don't have no African friends. I don't have no insurgent friends. Right? But now you can't say that anymore. As
Right.
this relationships continue to build, it's like, oh no, I know all kind of people in Africa. So now when I see something as an African American, I'm like, wait a minute, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? So but anyway, brother, I guess we started getting off on a little tangent.
Yeah.
No, hey, listen, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I thank you, but again, if I said it once or 1,000 times, I greatly appreciate the efforts that you two are putting in to this work, because you're not here by accident. Okay, you're here for a reason, and you guys are living a purpose, and it does me good. It makes me feel really good to see what y'all are doing, and the amount of people that I've met in a short period of time through y'all has been just wonderful. I've met other people also, but your get-togethers are a group of classy, intelligent, articulate, motivated people. And I tell you, I absolutely love it. So please make sure whenever you have your get-togethers, any of them, please keep me on the list. I do appreciate the invitations that I have gotten, and keep up the good work, guys. You guys are doing a wonderful job.
Man, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate that. Alhamdulillah. God, we talking to our Muslim brother. Gotta make sure we're all praying too.
Absolutely.
Brother, thank you so much for joining us, man. And definitely it is a pleasure. I'm wishing you the best and the greatest experience here in Johannesburg. Anything you need, you already know, reach out to us. We got you back.
Well, man, I appreciate y'all. Likewise, y'all make it a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing y'all again soon, and see you next Friday, inshallah, brother. And y'all take care. And as soon as I get this place straight out here, I want to have y'all out for dinner. All right?
All right, cool, brother. Look forward to it, brother.
All right. Take care. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you again. All right. Bye-bye.